Hi, everybody. Hi, I would like to thank Serena for asking me to chat with you guys tonight, and for creating this group. For creating this Inspire group where she's built a community of business women who can support each other. You guys, I'm at home tonight, and you're going to hear my dog back there. You might hear some kids every now and then. So excuse all that. But yeah, a big shout out and a thanks to Serena for inviting me to chat with you guys, and again for building this group and creating a community of women who can support each other in business. So, what I want to talk to you guys tonight about, well, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Melissa Scott. If you don't know me, I am a mom of triplets. They're 16 years old. I'm a wife. I've been married for 20 years to my awesome husband, TJ. He sets all this craziness up for me. And by the way, this is a podcast mic. I'm also a podcaster, and that's what this mic is. And so it looks kind of crazy, but not really. But we do record a lot of our stuff, so we just decided to record this as well to put into content. So anyway, I've also been an entrepreneur for 24 years as a hairstylist and makeup artist. And as you come on, you guys, say hi. Let me know that you're watching so I don't feel like I'm talking to an abyss. And then let me know where you're viewing from. That would be great. So as I was saying, I've been an entrepreneur for 24 years as a hairstylist and a makeup artist. I've been a crafter, made all the crafty things, the door hangers, and sold them at craft fairs, and just recently became a podcaster in October of last year. And I've created an online business where I teach women how to overcome fears and be more successful and be the best version of themselves they can be. I think we're all trying to reach that and have that growth mindset. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So again, if you're hopping on, tell me where you're viewing from. I'd love to know, and say hi. Give me like a wave. Let me know I'm not by myself on here. And if you saw in the notes, we're going to talk about the top 3 struggles that women have in business. And then I'm going to give you 12 tips on what you can do to avoid those things and actions you can take to overcome those things. Hi, Melissa. I'm Melissa as well. So glad you said hi. Thanks for joining. Where are you watching from? Okay, so for time, I just want to talk about a little bit, we can't control. We all get 24 hours in a day, right? We can't control time, but we can take some of our control back if we learn to schedule. I want to tell you a little story about how I learned about the power of a schedule. Hi, Lisa from Illinois. Melissa from Virginia. So glad you guys are joining us. So as I said before, I have triplets, and when they were born, we found out they were triplets 3 weeks before they were born. We thought it was twins, and then we found out 3 weeks before they were born that it was triplets, and so clearly we were not prepared. Hey, from California, Alice, and Cece from Illinois. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. So anyway, as I was saying, 3 weeks before 3 weeks before they were born, we found out they were triplets. I went to early labor at 25 weeks. And so 3 weeks later, they were born. And of course, we were not prepared. We did all the things we could in 3 weeks. We bought an extra crib. We bought an extra car seat. All the things that we bought a minivan because, you got to have a van to haul them around in. And but we just weren't prepared. Like, how do you go from a couple who have never had kids before? We've been married almost 5 years to suddenly we're the parents of 3 kids. So my job became going to the hospital every day. Obviously, they were in the NICU. They were there for 2.5 months, and I spent every day. My job was getting up early, getting there early, spending the whole day there, and going home at night. And I just observed. I just watched what they did. And I quickly learned that they were on a schedule. So there in the NICU, there is 4 babies to 1 nurse. And so they were not babies, they were a box. There was no names. It was ABCD. Hi, Jody. Thank you for joining us from Central Canada. Mary from Iowa, and Lisa from Kansas City. Oh, I don't know what I just did. I'm sorry. Stay on this page. I'm so sorry. In trying to read your comments, I almost turned it off. So anyway, as I was saying with my story, I learned that they were on a schedule, and that when one nurse has 4 babies, it's a tight schedule. So you can imagine every 2 hours, NICU babies have to eat. So baby A eats first, C, D, A, B, C, D. And if A eats first, 2 hours later, A's eating first. Everything was scheduled, from diapers to baths to medicine to feeding, and it was all on that schedule. A, B, C, D. They never got off the schedule. D was always last. If D was hungry when A was eating or B was eating, D had to wait because it's not your turn yet. So I learned really quickly that the power of a schedule, and what looked like a terrible situation. 3 babies in NICU, and they are my miracles. 2 of them had heart surgeries. If you saw them today, you would not know that anything was ever wrong with them. Excuse the roar of the traffic outside. But anyway, I learned the power of a schedule, and that was a blessing in disguise, because that taught me how to take care of triplets when they come home. So one of the number one things I can tell you to do to be successful in business and just to be successful in life is schedule everything. Schedule, schedule, schedule. I would schedule date night, schedule, when you're like on Mondays, I schedule all of my posts if I'm doing something online. So schedule everything. Number one pitfall is not having a schedule. And I learned very quickly that if you have a schedule, you're going to do it more. Like if you're scheduling it, you're going to do it. Where there are times when we just like let things drop and we just kind of like, I don't want to do it. But if it's on the schedule, we'll do it. Which leads me to the next thing is you need to set goals and set deadlines, and then tell somebody about that deadline. And I want to give you an example of that. So I decided a while ago, obviously it was probably about September, my husband and I were chatting. We decided we want to do a podcast. Like, I don't know, like, hey, let's do a podcast. And so the only thing that was stopping is that we just had never done it. We didn't do it. We never said when we were going to do it. So we just set some crazy deadline. It was like, okay, October the 15th is the day. And so literally we launched the podcast on October the 15th. And it's because we set a goal and we set a deadline. And then I started talking about it online. I started telling people, I started announcing it everywhere, and that held me accountable. So set a goal, set a deadline, literally put it on your calendar, and then start talking about it with people, because it will hold you accountable. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is plan and prepare for the bumps in the road. Like we all know, I don't know what your businesses are. And maybe if you guys could just like, let me know, tune in, tell me like if some of this is ringing true to you and like you can relate, and tell me what some of your businesses are and where maybe like some of your pitfalls or struggles may be. But there are always going to be bumps in the road. There are always going to be things that are going to happen. And we know that in life, like life's not perfect. There's going to be issues. So over prepare and over plan is just something that I've learned to do, just not just in business, but with my family. If there's something that's going to go wrong, I want to foresee it and like know ahead of time and have a plan for it if it's going to happen. So that's number 3. Okay, so the number one thing that we talked about was time. Time's always going to be a struggle, but those are some of the things that you can do. Number 2 is support. So I hear a lot of business women especially talk about not having the support of their families, not having the support of their spouse, not having friends who support them. And if anybody can relate to that, I can. We raised triplets, and most of their lives we haven't been around family. We've mostly just lived away from them, so we didn't have the support. And so what I feel like I need to let business women know is don't let your success rise and fall on support. And I can say honestly that I've been guilty of if I'm scared of something, I will blame it on not having the support. So if your success rises and falls on the support of someone, then you're giving them the control. And so I say, like, I want the control of my business. I want the control of my life. And so it's not going to rise and fall on support. However, support is important. So with that being said, the next thing is support is important. And that would be number 5. So I encourage you to surround yourself with support. Number 6, get a business buddy. We talk about it in this group. I don't care if the person is online. I don't care if they're your friend down the road. Get a business buddy. Get somebody that will help you get things done, who will give you ideas that you can bounce ideas off of. Like, hey, I'm going to create this wreath and I need to know, does this look good or does this look bad? It's a crazy idea, but should I go for it? Like, you need somebody to bounce things off of. And that's what I love about this Inspire group that Serena has created, because we can just hop on here and ask each other questions, which is amazing. Like, I love being able to go through, and I've learned so much just like scrolling through and reading everybody else's conversations. So love the group. Thanks again to Serena for creating it. Get a business buddy. Number 7, find a mentor. Like, find somebody who is killing it in your business and shadow them. Ask them, hey, can I just come hang out with you for a day? That was one of the huge things that changed my career as a hairstylist. When I started out, I went to one of the most successful people in our town and asked her if she would mentor me. And at that time, now you have to kind of, well, and depends on the state, you have to do a internship type thing after you graduate school. But when I graduated 24 years ago, you didn't have to do that. So I asked her to mentor me, and I literally swept her hair. I watched everything she did. She taught me how to be a successful businesswoman. She wasn't just teaching me how to do hair. She was teaching me how you hire a receptionist to manage your business. How do you hire a good receptionist to manage your salon? She taught me how you customer service, good customer service, and she taught me how to rebook them. So she just helped me make my business successful. So whatever your business is, I don't care if it's real estate or making wreaths or decorating a house, whatever your thing is, find somebody who's killing it and ask them if you can mentor them. And in this day and age where we can literally Google anything and learn anything, it's easy to just go to Google for advice. But when you see it in action, it changes something in our minds. Like, when you see it happening, there's magic to that. You connect to that. You can envision yourself being in that place. So find a really good mentor. Mine, her name was Cynthia, and she passed away, but she has impacted my life in ways that, I mean, like, today still I do business the way she taught me to do it. So find a mentor. The next thing, number 8, is be a mentor. So my visual for that is that you're in the middle and someone is reaching down to you, lifting you up. So while you've got a hand up here being lifted up to another level, you need to be reaching down and pulling somebody else up to your level. So find someone who needs help and give to them and teach them how to do what you're doing. If they're just a little beneath you, and I don't mean beneath in a negative way, if they don't know what you know, teach them. Find someone to be a mentor. It changes our mindset when we mentor other people or when we help other people. There literally is something that changes in our brain. And you guys, I nerd out a lot of the, I'm building a course on the science of the brain. But when you help someone else, it changes our mindset. When we give back, number one, it's like there's something there to us that it's a connection with our creator. Like, we just did something we were meant to do. So when you're helping somebody else, you're lifting them up to another level. Give back. That's huge. Become a mentor. It helps us to level up. That's the other thing. I'm just looking through notes, and I just remembered that I know that when I'm helping someone else, it ups my game. Like, I have to check myself. Like, I'm going to double check my facts. I'm going to make sure that I am like top notch, know my stuff, doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to make sure that like in hair, I'm going to make sure that the products were set up and the colors already mixed, and I'm on my game and I'm going to know what I'm talking about. So when you mentor someone else, it makes you level up. So that was number 8. And the next section that I want to go into is fear. And this is like my big topic. It's something that I'm very passionate about. If you guys are still watching, it looks like 10 are on. You guys chat with me. Tell me, does any of this sound like, is it helpful? Is it something that you can relate to? I'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, I would love for you to ask them in the chat. And maybe you're on and I'm not seeing it because I'm so scared to touch it. I almost jumped. Oh, you guys are. I'm so sorry. I didn't see all this. Long Island. Okay. I'm going to take a second. I'm an artist wanting to do online courses, and I don't schedule, but we'll change that. Debbie, good for you. Seriously, and I'm right in that place. I've just built a course. That's exactly what I've done. And until I put it on the schedule and got the mentoring that I needed, I didn't do it. BizBuddy, great idea. Hanging out with successful person and asking to learn from them, such a good little nugget. I'm telling you, it totally changed my career as a hairstylist and as a makeup artist. It totally changed that. Helping others helps me to connect with my creator. Absolutely. Like, I feel like this, I did a gratitude challenge in November, and that was one of the things that I talked about, is that when we help other people, it's like there's this feeling, like, you guys get that feeling when you help someone else. It's like, not like a prideful, arrogant thing, but like, it is like, I just fulfilled a purpose that God put me on this planet to do. And so it is something I'm super passionate about. Giving back is my life. Thank you, Debbie, for saying very helpful. And CC, taking notes. Thank you for taking notes. Hey, if you guys want notes, let me know. I can get those to you. We'll figure something out. Let me know if you want notes from tonight. Okay, so as I was talking about fear, so that's something I'm super passionate about. The reason that I'm so passionate about it is because fear gripped me most of my life. I remember like crying when I found out I was going to have triplets and praying to God that it was a mistake because I was so terrified. And not just that, but just anything I've ever wanted to do in life, I've always felt like fear like gripped me. I'm 44, but when I turned 40, I was determined that I'm going to like tackle this with everything in me, and I'm going to overcome this whole fear thing. And I will say that in life, I don't think that fear ever goes away, but I think that you can change the way that you think. I know that you can change the way that you think, and you can conquer fear and not allow it to control your life. And so what I believe is that we as women, we run with our fear story. Like, we all have a fear story, right? Like, if I do that, and I'll just like be vulnerable with you guys and talk about like just when I started online business and I started going live on Facebook, or I started just like being vulnerable and putting my stuff out there and talking about real stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think? I'm like, oh my gosh, Sally is going to talk about me because I never brought those cookies to the cookie bake, and she hates me now. And now she's going to talk about like how terrible my business is. Or she's going to say like, who does she think she is getting on there talking about that? So we run with our fear story. It's like something that just, it's not just women. I mean, you know, I've talked to many men about this too. And I just feel like we can conquer it, and I just want to encourage people to conquer it. And it's what I'm building my whole online business on, is helping women to overcome fear, to become more confident, to have more courage, to do what we feel like God's called us to do. And again, I'm sorry if I'm missing your notes, please. Fear is my biggest hurdle. Lisa, I got you, girl. I got you. I'm gonna help you with that. Notes. Okay, so notes. If you guys want notes, go to my hellocourageous.com, and there should be a pop-up that you can give me your email. And so everybody that gives me your email tonight, I'll just go on there and send you a note, like just a PDF on your email. Does that work for everybody? Okay, so number one thing, well, it's actually number 9 in the 12 steps, but number 9 is confidence comes in doing. So literally, you have got to go do the thing. So if you fear going live, just bite it. Don't think about it. Go live. If you are fearing, I talked with a girl not too long ago in one of my groups, who was struggling with starting a VA business. Like, she had this passion about it. She had everything planned. I mean, to a T. She'd created a website. She'd created a page, but didn't make it public. Like, everything. She was so gripped with fear. And this is where accountability comes in, because I said to her, when we get off this phone, I want you to go click the button, flip the switch, whatever it is that's holding you back and making you not do it, just go do it. Don't even think about it. And then I want you to message me and like screenshot it, show me. I want to see that you did it. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's just somebody holding our feet to the fire and saying like, do it. So whatever it is, confidence comes in doing. If you're scared of doing something, you just got to take that first step. And I promise you, here's a good example. So I've had a fear of speaking on stage, and like, I don't know, does anybody fear speaking in public? Like, raise your hand, give me a shout if you fear speaking in public. My head says the exact same thing, Jessica. Confidence comes in doing. Yes, that's so true. Confidence comes in doing. So for those of you who struggle with speaking on stage, let me give you a good example. So I was asked to do the announcements at our church when I was very fearful of speaking on stage. And we have 2 services. So there's practice on Sunday mornings before any service. And then there's the announcements for service number 2, and then there's announcements for service number 3. Terrified, like didn't want to walk, shaking, leg shaking, hand shaking. We have these cards, we call them connect cards, and I was like literally like shaking in round 1. Round 2, I was like, okay, I practiced. I think I got this. Round 3, cool as a cucumber. It was like, I had that job all my life. I'm telling you guys, confidence comes in doing. So yes, terrified of speaking on stages. Yes, Melissa. Lisa said yes. Cece said yes. Penny raised her hand. Girl, I'm telling you, I was there, but honestly, now I could get up there and do announcements and it doesn't faze me. So confidence comes in doing, you guys. Okay, so there is this thing called the law of diminishing returns. Have you guys heard of that? Here, let me give you an example of like, I don't know if any of you have been impacted by this. I have, so I'm very sensitive to it. So I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all, but do you know anyone who's like addicted to drugs? And you know how like they have like gateway drugs. You start with one drug and then you want more, and it's eventually that's not enough. So then you want more. Or let's talk about like who loves some Cheesecake Factory cheesecake. Let's talk about cheesecake, not drugs. So Cheesecake Factory cheesecake. But if you eat it every day, it's not going to be as good as you like if you've waited a couple of weeks or a month, or, you know, if you're on a diet, then a year. But anyway, if you can stick to a diet for a year, girl, sister, you will be successful in business. But the law of diminishing returns is that the joy that was there isn't the same if you eat cheesecake every day. So the same thing applies for fear. If you fear something, if you continue to do it, the fear eventually will diminish. So try to remember that when you're scared of something, that the law of diminishing returns, it will not continue to be the same stage of fear. Okay, so number 10, discipline. Discipline your mind to stop the fear cycle. So let me tell you about the fear cycle. So say like this is a weird example, but I'm scared of this marker. Excuse me. So I'm scared of this blue marker, and I see the marker, it scares me, I'm going to avoid the blue marker. The next time the blue marker drops in my lap, scared to death, get it away from me, I don't want anything to do with the blue marker. Every time I see it, my mind immediately associates it with fear. And so I have created a fear cycle. And what's happening is your neurons are literally burning a path in your brain. And our brain and our neurons take the path of least resistance. So the next time I see the blue marker, the path that I've burned is fear. It's immediately going to think fear. So sometimes, whether it's business fear, whether it's fear of heights, whatever, we've created such a fear in our brain that when we hear that, we've created this cycle that we feel like we can't get out of it. The only way to stop the fear cycle, or any habit that you have in your life, is to create a new path. And so you literally have to change the way you think about that fear. You have to write it down. You have to apply truth to it. Those are the ways that you change the paths in your brain. And one of the things that I say all the time, like I used to be so, I don't know, somebody's walking around behind me, excuse me. I'm like, who is this? I used to be so terrified, or no, like so brave. And like, I literally bungee jumped and rappelled off a mountain, and my husband is behind me. I rappelled off a mountain. I was never scared of heights. Now, at 44, if I get on an escalator with the glass stairs and then, like the wall that's up there is glass, terrified, because for whatever reason, I have created, Lisa says, stop the fear cycle. Yes, sister, let's stop it. That I've created this fear in my brain of heights. Literally, the only way that I'm going to overcome that is to get on that escalator, 15 times. By the time I get to the top of the escalator for the 15th time, y'all see him over there? By the time I get to the top of the escalator on the 15th time, I'm not going to be fearful anymore. Does that make sense? I hope that brought it home to you a little bit more, but we got to create a new path in our brains and stop the fear cycle. Okay, so number 11 on 4, you guys, like, I'm just so passionate about the whole fear thing. Study what scares you. So whatever that thing is, like, I was discussing this with my husband beforehand, and we were just kind of like cracking jokes or whatever. And he was like, my son used to be terrified of throwing up. Literally scared him to death. Like, I don't know if he thought he was going to die if he threw up. I don't know what it was, but he was like, he used to be terrified. And so my husband was cracking a joke and saying, like, okay, Luke, go study vomiting. But I really think that would help if you understand that vomiting is your body's protection mechanism. You're not going to be scared of it, right? Like, I don't know. That may be a weird example, but I'm just saying, like, you have to study what you fear. A lot of times we fear that we don't have the knowledge that we need. But if we arm ourselves with the knowledge, if we do the research and we study what that thing is that we fear, heights, trying to relate it to business. If we fear doing the online stuff and putting ourselves out there, study it, research it. If you are wanting to have a brick and mortar and you're terrified of that, go study it. Whatever that fear is, and you guys tell me study what scares me. Yes. Put on here some of the things that you fear. Like, what are some of your fears? And yes, just go study those things. And it sounds crazy simple, and it really is. But again, when you do that, it is creating a new path in your brain. I wish I could give you a visual of it. Like, let me give you this visual. So this is what I wrote in my gratitude challenge. Imagine that, who's from the South, who's got woods around them? Y'all know what woods are? I'm from Arkansas, and it's wooded down there. And like, we go in the woods for a lot of reasons. And so this is what I imagine. Like, you're in the woods. If you want to create a trail in the woods, like, if I want to get here to there, and the only way to go from here to there is through these woods, I have to create a trail, right? Like, say I have to get over there every day for the next 30 days. I'm going to have to move the weeds out of the way. I'm going to have to pick up the branches and move things out of the way, and I'm going to create a path. Eventually, I'm going to beat that path so many times. It's a well-worn path, and grass doesn't grow, and sticks don't stay, and leaves die, and they get pushed to the side. So there's a path in the woods, right? Okay, so I found out that this is not a good path for me, because maybe there's bears or, lions or whatever might kill you in the woods. And so I need to create a different path this way. It's much easier to go this way, but if I want to go this way, I have to start all over, and I have to create a new path, and I have to move all those weeds out of the way. I have to move the sticks and the branches. I might have to cut a tree down. If I want the path of least resistance that's easier, I have to go this way, but this is not beneficial for me anymore, so I have to stick to the new path. And that's the thing that, like, I want to drive home more than anything, is if you veer from this path at all and you go back to this path, you're breaking down this path again. You may, grass has started to grow, but then you just killed the grass because you walked on it. But if you continue to stay on the new path, eventually grass is going to grow, and weeds are going to grow, and sticks are going to fall, and leaves are going to branches are going to fall, and this path is going to be grown back up, and you're going to have this new well-worn path. That's literally what you're doing in your brain. You are literally physically changing your brain when you do these things. It's science. It's crazy. I always say, like, I don't know what I can say on here. I don't know what all I can say on here because it's not my group, so I don't want to get too far into this. But live on Facebook scares me, major fear, but I'm going to try it Thursday. Y'all, please pray for me. Penny, I'm going to write you down right now. I'm going to pray for you. I'm telling you, it is terrifying, but when you do it several times, you will, Penny, live Thursday. When you do it several times, you're going to see, like, I promise you, 5 times in, you're going to be like, you might be slightly nervous 5 times in. 10, you're like, this is not a thing. This is like, why was I even scared? I promise you. Promise you, Penny. What others think of me. So good. Why do we let what other people think of us terrify us? I'm going to get to that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Fear of falling. Yeah, girl, that's with me in those heights. And literally, I have said to myself before, I need to go up and down these escalators like 15 times so that I can get used to it. That's literally how we change our fear, but I just haven't done it yet. Canada, lots of woods. You can relate, Jody. You can relate to the trail in the woods. Like, y'all go to the woods, y'all go hunting. That's what we went to the woods for. Penny, you're welcome. I want to know how that goes. Message me after Thursday. I want to hear how that goes for you. Okay, so 11 was study what scares you. 12 is going to be aware of the people that surround you. So I'm sure you guys have heard it said that you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. For me, it's triplets and my husband and maybe a friend every now and then. So I'm like, okay, what does that say about me? Because I surround myself with my family. I have no other time other than them. But anyway, that's you are some of the people you hang around. And so are those people pulling you up? Or are they pulling you down? Again, it leads me back to finding a mentor or multiple mentors, so that somebody's constantly pulling you up, and you need more mentors than you are being a mentee. Like, so if you've got several people that you can look up, several people that can mentor you. And hey, listen, people can mentor you online. I have mentors online now that I'm doing an online business that live nowhere near me. I have a mentor in Canada. I have a mentor in Kansas City. I have mentors everywhere. A lot of you women on here who give advice are people that I look up to. But there is something about a real life in-person mentor and someone that you can like visually see. There's something about that. So don't discard that, but definitely check the people that you hang around. A lot of people will speak into our fears. And, like I've had people in my life who were trying to be supportive, but, like I fear maybe like you're saying what someone said about me and, or that somebody's talking about me or what other people think. Like I was talking about in the beginning, man, Sally's going to hate me because I never brought those cookies to the cookie bake because I was so busy taking care of triplets. But she hates me now, and now she's going to think, well, who does she think she is getting online and trying to start a business? Why do we care so much? But if we have friends in our lives or people that are around us, even sometimes our siblings, our husbands, whatever, if they are around us and they're speaking into that fear and going, yeah, she probably is talking about you. You know how she is. She runs her mouth. You don't need to hear that if you're fearing what other people think. What you need to hear is, sister, it don't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what she thinks. That's what you need to hear. So be very aware of who you're surrounding yourself with, whether they're pulling you down or pulling you up. Be very conscious of that. And if I could give you any other tips outside of the ones that I'm giving you tonight here that I actually wrote down and planned to tell you, is that get a journal and write every day. You would be so surprised at what you learn about yourself in journaling. It's a discipline. It takes a discipline. Like you have to get up 15 minutes early. And like literally the first thing I do, pop open my eyes and put on my glasses. It's the first thing I do because it starts my day in a positive way. I'm not like jumping up and like, let me go wake the kids up and let me get, it's starting my day, and I'm very intentional about my day. That's a huge tip. Didn't plan on saying that, but I'm sure you guys, if you are a journaler, give me a comment on here. South Carolina. Okay. Is this Amy? I'm going to assume Amy. I actually went and did my homework, and I think most of these people in this group are women, right? I hope I'm right. Online mentors, amazing. You're going to be looking for somebody who does coaching. That's kind of the language, but that's what a mentor would be. But it's literally somebody who is doing what you're doing. And a lot of times we have to pay for that, which stinks. But if you want to be at that level, sometimes you have to pay for it. So, but there are plenty of people out there who will, people in this group who will connect with you and help you. And Amy, I absolutely would help in any way. If you ever need help, message me. I'm like, definitely, online mentor, somebody that's great. Serena's a great one. She like just what she does on here and helping us. So get a mentor. What was I talking about? Let me pull my thoughts back together. I've got my husband having a conversation on the phone back here with one of his employees, and I lost my train of thought. Study what scares you. Be aware of your surroundings. Okay, and this is kind of a bonus. Number 13 is, and this leads me back to caring about what people say. Know your why. All of these things, the time, the support, and the fear, If you know your why, that's going to keep you grounded. It's going to keep you going forward. When you're like in a funk, you give yourself a minute to be in a funk, but just know like, okay, tomorrow's a new day and I'm going to start all over because I know my why. And we hear a lot of people talk about the why, like on this in this online business world. Don't you guys think like you hear a lot of people talk about why? I'm going to pause for just a minute. I left a group as the owner was pulling me down. Yes, yes. Barb, like I can't be around these people that pull me down. Like I literally can't. Like it messes with my head. It really does work. Write one positive thing down every morning. That's right, Melissa. And like even what your intentions are. Even like today, I want to be the best wife I know, like the best woman I can be. I want to be the best mom that I know. Write those things down and then like just it sets your brain in a direction like I'm going to be the best business owner that I've ever been, the best friend I can be. It sets your mind at a different level, like it's leveling up literally. So that's the power of journaling. It really is what I call, I learned this from Dr. Carolyn Leaf. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with her, but you think about your thoughts, taking those thoughts captive and owning your thoughts, ladies. Dr. Carolyn Leaf, do you know who I'm talking about, Amy? Oh, she's so good. Yeah, yeah, it is demeaning. Like people just they don't get like the little backbiting and talking, like how demeaning that can be and how like that can pull you down. So we have to surround ourselves with people that aren't going to focus on that and aren't going to care. Like find you some friends that don't care what other people think. Find some. I'm telling you, it changes your aspect everyday life when you start filtering it like through them. Like, what would they think about this? It changes. But one of the things that as I was talking about is your why. Like find out your why, because excuse me, when you know your why and people are talking and saying negative things, you're going to go back to like I know that what I'm doing is positive. I know that what I'm doing is for good and it's not hurting anybody. So you can say something negative about that. You can find the negative because, hey, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. No business is perfect. Nothing is perfect. So people are still going to say those things, but you get to come back to your center and know like my why is for my family. My why is and literally my personal why is that I want to help other people. Like it is in my nature. It is who I am. I want to help people succeed. I want to help people know that you're going to make it. You got this, girl. That's in my heart. And so somebody can judge me and criticize me and say negative things about me and talk about, whatever, my roots or, got too much makeup on, or they can say whatever they want to say. At the end of the day, I don't care because I know I'm doing it for a good reason. And you got to know your why. You got to know that you're doing it for a good reason. And that if it's building a business to make money, to support your family, that's a good reason. I've heard in, being from Arkansas, small town business, everything's small town. Like somebody across town was building this enormous house and it was like, well, they'll build that enormous house. It was jealousy and essentially, but talking about that person, as a hairstylist, you hear everything. But, my response to that is, well, I'm sure that they earned it and they're building a beautiful home for their family. There's, if you know your why, when people talk, you're not going to care. If you know your why, when you run out of time at the end of the day and you didn't get something accomplished, it's going to make you feel like, okay, I have more time tomorrow. I've got the weekend and we got to go here and we got to do that. And Joey has a basketball game, but after the game, I'm going to get at it and I'm going to take it 2 hours and I'm going to get this done. If you know your why, when you don't have support, you can do it anyway. If people around you aren't supporting you, you're going to be able to do it anyway. So that's my tippy top best advice is know your why. And that probably should have been at the beginning, but I'm like, okay, hey, bonus, let's talk about our why. If you guys know your whys, I want you to put them on here. Tell me hey, Serena, are you on your cruise? How is it going? How are things going out in the sea? I hope you're loving Melissa. She is so awesome. Thank you. That's so sweet. I hope you guys like me too. Yes, you're talking my language. So anyway, yeah, know your why and then get really clear on 2 things. This is going to help you with your why. Get really clear on these 2 things. Does this thing that I'm doing hurt anyone? Is it hurting anyone? Is it causing harm to anyone? Is it doing anything negative to anyone? Nope. check. Is it helping someone? If it's helping someone, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's women online, no matter if it's not hurting anybody and it's helping somebody, you better take that why to the bank, sister, because nobody can talk about that and tear you down. So that is my 13 tips on how to be successful, how to avoid those 3 pitfalls. Sorry, my husband. It's okay. That's how to avoid the 3 things: the time, the support, and the fear. And you can't always avoid those things. Time is always going to be at our tails. There are many times that you're not going to have support, and fear is always going to be there. But if you follow these 13 steps, I promise you, you're going to be a lot more successful. You're going to be able to overcome these things instead of allowing them to overcome you. And again, if you guys want notes from tonight, I would love to give them to you. Serena, I hope this is okay, but I just said, like, hey, go to my website, hellocourageous.com, and give me your email, and I will send you notes from tonight. We'll get all that done. Okay, so know your why. Lisa says 2 questions to ask. Does this hurt anyone, and is this helping someone? That's so good. This was just what I needed. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Lisa. I'm glad that it's helping. My why is the unbelievable feeling when I create. It gives me independence and joy in my own money, living my dream. Yes, girl, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's one of those things that I'm saying, like, you feel like it's a connection with your maker. Like, and I'm a creative, so I get it. Like, I am a creative person. So when I am being creative, even when I was doing hair, like, my body can't handle 12 hours on my feet in one place anymore, but it's like creating something beautiful to me is a connection with my maker. Like, I'm doing what I'm purposed to do. So yeah, girl, that's a good why. That's a good why. Thank you so much. OMG. Thank you so much, Melissa. You're so welcome. Thank you guys for watching. Awesome. Thanks so much. Yes, please visit her page, her site, and sign up. Thank you, Serena. I wasn't sure, like, everybody was wanting notes, and I'm like, how can I get it? Email's the best way. So yeah, if you guys want the notes, I would love for you to go hop on there. Everybody who signs up tonight, I will get those notes to you. If it's a replay, message me. Message me on Facebook if you're watching the replay and you didn't hear this and you're like, hey, I signed up and it's been 2 days. Just message me, let me know, and I'll make sure that I get them to you guys. I hope that you enjoyed everything that I talked about. I hope that these steps help you. And if I can help anybody with anything else, please feel free to message me or reach out. Thanks again, Serena, for, I know you weren't here in the beginning, but I just wanted to give you a shout out and thank you for the invite to chat with your people tonight. And thank you for creating this group, this Inspire group, where we can come on here and get advice and support one another and help each other grow in our businesses and level up. Let's level up, sisters. So thanks again. I don't know how much time I had, Serena. I think I took about 45 minutes. And I hear that that's the level where people start tuning out. So I think I hit the timing well. I'm going to see if anybody had any questions. Yes, my purpose. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Thank you, Serena, for putting that on there. Thank you. Thank you. You rock. You guys are awesome. You're so supportive. Like, I just need to get on here and go live every day. You all are going to make me feel like a superwoman. Thanks again for listening. I am going to use this as a podcast. I'm going to cut out the live convo, and I'm going to use this as a podcast so I can send that to you guys as well. That's great notes. Podcasts are great notes because you get to listen to it like, oh, what did she say? Let me hear that again. We are all each other's people. It's so true, Serena. Like, I was just telling them earlier, our tribe. Yeah, girl. I was telling them earlier, like, I learned so much just scrolling through the group and reading other people's questions and then reading everybody's answers. I can't tell you how much I've learned just from that in groups. So groups like this are so powerful. And Serena, I don't know if you heard about, like, the mentoring part that I talked about in the conversation, but like, we find great mentors in these kinds of groups. So go find a biz buddy and find a mentor, somebody that's like killing it at your game, and connect with people. Thank you so much. You guys are so welcome. Oh, I love that vision, Serena, that this is not your group, that this is 440 people's groups and we all have to work together. I love that. Love that. Love you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being so generous and kind in your comments, for giving me feedback. And I hope you guys have a good night. And I look forward to connecting with you all. Bye, everybody. Maybe if I can hit the right button.